What's happening, guys? Welcome back to episode 10, picking up from the Nexus. Now that we have knocked out the first portion of every world, we're actually in a really good spot to show you guys how to farm up everything you could possibly need to get you through Demon Souls. So this will work as a guide for anyone that has followed the series or anyone that hasn't even started to play through to just kind of show you some cool stuff along the way that will help out. So to kind of do this in order and to let you guys know what we're after, as you don't have flask that will refill every time you rest. This is well known. We are going to include how to farm up healing items and a more efficient way to do this than the one we showed earlier. Aside from that, we are going to show you soul farms, which, once again, this was already covered in the series. However, I do like to touch on this as we have to go through that area anyways to show you guys where to get some of the upgrades, which does bring me to, my last thing, and that's showing you guys how to get upgrades to upgrade every single weapon type, no matter if you're going for magic, faith, physical, quality, doesn't matter. We're going to cover it all. The reason I find this so important too is we recommended a faith build for the walkthrough. Has a lot of survivability and a lot of damage output. Unfortunately, faith weapons are the hardest ones to upgrade because the upgrades for faith don't come until probably one of the last areas you'll do if you really play your cards right. That's World 5 should be done for the most part last, as there's a lot of items that will help with that area. But with that being said, you're not going to be able to get upgrades for a long time for faith. So we're going to go ahead and amend that. So first things first, guys, just to kind of cover early game farms. So like I said, whether you follow the series or not, we're going to cover everything, that will help anybody, no matter what stage you are in the game. So we're not going to spend much time here as we've already done this, at the start. So essentially, anytime you come from Inner Ward backwards, you have two Blue-Eyed Knights, right? So two healing upgrades, two healing items apiece, half moon typically, but you might get full moon as well. And then the smaller soldiers can drop crescent moon, which isn't, the best. But where you were typically doing this farm, you're very early game, so they're still really nice to have at this point. So we got bolts this time. These guys are pretty much guaranteed to drop your healing items, two apiece. The other guys, not so much. You can do this 10 times and get 40 healing items. So it takes you about 5 minutes. You can get set up for most of the playthrough. In fact, we showed this early game. It was like episode 3, and I said, hey, in between episodes, you guys do some farming. I'll do it, and then we'll be in a good spot. So we did that, like I said, episode 3. We have not needed to do this since. I still have over 50 crescent moon grass, and we still have over 40 half moon grass. And like I said, we have not done this farm since episode 3, so it has carried us. Now we've recommended the faith build, so we have the heal miracle, we have the Adjudicator Shield giving us health regeneration, and then when we get our Blessed Weapon, that's also going to give us health regeneration. So that's help too, obviously. However, regardless, I think doing this really early in the game will really take you through a lot of the game before you have to worry about it again. Now, with that being said, before we jump to our next thing, we're going to show off the Soul Farm, and it kind of ties into the better option for getting healing items at this point where we are. So jumping on over to World 4, the Ritual Path. So I'm going to quickly show off this now, and we'll have to come back when we start showing upgrades. But, just to make sure we cover everything, I want to hit this first. So, like we said before, just get a bow, a few upgrades in it. You could use magic as well, but you got to get closer. But essentially, all we're doing is we're going to run on down, fire 3 arrows into the Reaper. All the other guys that he controls dies. You get 4,000 souls every about 10 seconds. That's how long it takes. Boom. I farmed up 50,000 in between episodes so we could pay for a lot of the upgrades we're going to buy. Now, once again, I'll say I don't recommend farming for levels ever. I think it does take away from the experience. However, if you need to, you need to, right? More importantly, with those souls we pick up, we got to remember, we could buy upgrade materials, we could buy healing items. So if you have followed the series, you guys have patches back at the Nexus, and we've already covered what he has. But the best option for healing items at this point in the game, getting closer to mid, is just to do your soul farm there, go to patches and buy your healing. It's going to be much better than farming over and over. So the Blue Eyes is kind of your free route, but this is more convenient because, you do that farm once, you're buying 10 half moon grass, even more. You're probably around 12 each time. So you spend 10 minutes, you'll have more healing than you could use in a playthrough. Wow. So that's just smart. So that covers your soul farm. That covers healing farms. So now we're going to get into upgrades. So we have stated this 1,000 times going through the series. But just to state again, no matter which build you're doing, you have to have basic upgrades. Even if you're doing magic, even if you're doing faith, as you need to take a basic weapon to +6, then you can take the magic or faith paths, right? So to that end, we're going to cover basic upgrade materials first. So our first spot is going to be over here at the smithing grounds. So once again, you would just farm up as many souls as you can. Come over here, 500 souls a pop. You can buy infinite amount of hardstone and sharpstone shards to get you through this first few tiers. Now, if you're going crushing, you don't have to go all the way to +6 first, but most of your other routes you do need to. But regardless, it's nice to know. Sorry guys, my cat's being an asshole. Actually, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. My cat, we're trying to dig in my trash and shit. But either way, hardstone, sharpstone, 500 souls a pop. So go to your soul farm, come here, buy what you need. In fact, I'll go and pick up, like, what? We'll get 10. I still have 50,000 from other ones. Yep, good. And then that's for your basics. That's a good thing to know. Then you also got to remember crystal lizards always appear once guaranteed where they're supposed to, but anytime you kill a boss, they will reappear. So if you go all the way through a world, you can kill a lizard like 3 times. So remember to come back. Like, you know, there's that one here. Usually gets you 8 hardstone or sharpstone. You know, you're not really sure, but it's important to know to go back to do that. And that was actually dumb to jump back to the Nexus. Didn't mean to do that, because our next spot is going to be the Tunnel City. So now we have shown you where to get just your basic run-of-the-mill hardstone, sharpstone. You're still going to need your later tiers. So large hardstone chunks. So from the Tunnel City, what we're going to do is just blitz past these first few guys, and we want to go to the tunnel on the left-hand side. Once again, we've shown this to the series, but it made the most sense to put all of our farming needs into, you know, the same episode. Just bonus episode, rather short, like I said. That way we can go ahead and cover everything. Then once you run past those so they don't blow you up, we have your fat official. He loves using fire, hates to get smacked with it, so we'll smack him with it. There you go, full moon grass, which almost guaranteed every time. After you got a piece of his armor, he's guaranteed to drop. He also has a very, very, very small chance to drop an item called the gold coin. This is going to be pointed out later in the walkthrough. We need to take a gold coin to Sparky the Crow and trade this for one of your rings for the all ring achievement. So like I said, it's more to come later. However, if you can get it out of the way now, it's just, you know, one less thing to worry about. So once you go on down, we're looking for the brick tunnel where you have to roll through the crates. The other side's more like a rock tunnel, and we'll get to that later. But down here is your pit of crystal lizards. Now we've already killed most of them. You know, you can only kill them 1 time per boss. We've only killed 1 boss here, right? So typically, you can get a few a run. So, sharpstone, clearstone for quality. Where'd the other guy go? I know we got 2 of them for sure. Maybe he wasn't fully dead. Okay. Now the easiest way to do this is just to use evacuate. They'll send you back to the Nexus, but it's easy enough to jump back. Because I want to show he drops other stuff too. But at the start of that crystal lizard pit, there's like 20 of them down there. And like I said, you can kill them all twice. So we've already done this so much throughout the walkthrough. I have shown this a few times. But you can really stock up. What's even cooler is since there's 2 bosses left, that pit will fill up 2 more times as we go through. In fact, next episode, we're going to the Tunnel City. So at the end of next episode, you guys can go farm all those lizards again. Once again, it's just basic stuff, but it's your strength, dex, quality type materials. And just basic materials anyways to get weapons to either crushing or to at least get to that, you know, +6 for magic or faith, right? So you still need the stuff. But all the stuff can come back, so that's what's, you know, the best part about it. At least a few more times. Now, once all the bosses are dead, they're all dead. You know, you're not going to get more crystal lizards, but you can still farm the guys in the area, obviously, right? Put on your providential ring, go on through, farm up any of the miners, and that's another way. But if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think you guys are going to bring up that many weapons unless you're just sitting here upgrading every single weapon. I told you at the start of the series, this is not the game for that. You need to pick, you know, 1 to 3 weapons to play around with, and that's what you're going to get. You know, like maybe 1 boss or a very unique weapon that takes colorless demon souls. Then 2 basic weapons is probably what you're going to get. Maybe 3 if you farm up all this stuff. But they're not just throwing this stuff at you, and, you know, going the basic path costs quite a bit, you know. You probably spend like 25 hardstones on 1 weapon alone. Not to mention your chunks, not to mention your larges. And then your pure stones, the final upgrade map, these are going to be quite limited, you know, in a playthrough. Quite limited. Yeah, they're starting to go away much quicker now. So large sharpstone, and you get your hardstone too. I'm just not getting lucky enough, and I may have already got it all, but yeah, you'll get clearstone, you're gonna get sharpstone, and you're gonna get hardstone. Not just regular. Like I said, you get larges and you'll get chunks. So that covers all basic upgrades at this point. Then as we go through the zone and we get into the mines, there's like a shit ton of crystal lizards throughout there, and other upgrades we'll get just progressing through the game. But that should cover all of your basic upgrades. Now the only ones that are really left are magic and faith. Now there's two type of magic weapons. You have moon, you have crescent. Now I'm not going to run all the way through here because it's a pain in the ass. So this zone you cannot work through backwards, because if you remember, gargoyles took you up to Upper Latria in World 3. So what you would have to do is start from the Prison of Hope, go all the way through right before that ballista, your last left before you go out those doors. There was that crystal lizard. Do be careful, there's a hole there, but they did drop some of your moonlight stone, which you need for moon weapons. So this is magic weapon that has high base damage but no mana regeneration. Crescent, and it retains, so moon weapons, it's going to retain some of the physical scaling, so that's why it has higher base damage. You're getting physical scaling and you're getting really good magic scaling. On the other hand, you have crescent, which does very high magic scaling but nullifies all physical scaling for mana regeneration instead. So that's what that crystal lizard is. If you go to Upper Latria and just progress through there, you're going to find a lot more moonlight upgrades. So that's where you get that type. And then going over to the ritual path, this will be your crescent. So once again, we've covered this in the series. This is not going to be here for me, but just to show you guys. For one, you can go back to World 4-1. And over by Sparky the Crow, there was that little drop for a crystal lizard. He's going to get you 3 moonshade stones, right? And then if you were to backtrack here, there's another crystal lizard like right outside the boss room on a little cliff. I'd recommend something like a halberd, or something where you're not going to fall off, right? So Meridian Hammer actually works very good. Once again, I've already gotten it, but it does work really good. We're just going to ignore him for now. Now when you go on up, remember there's that trap, so you just want to be careful, be quick. Alright, then you go out to your store on the right. You're going to take another right. Then right here on the ledge will be a crystal lizard with 3 more moonshade stone chunks. See, I'm sorry, moonshade stone shards rather. So you guys can pick those up. And then getting back to, where we're going. Thank you. That shouldn't kill us. No. Then if you start progressing into 4-2 a bit, for one, right over here by the farm, the merchant that you freed with the copper key is here, and he actually sells moonshade stones right here. 3,000 pop, and get infinite amounts. So you'll always be able to bring up, crescent weapons at least to like +1, +2 with that. And then if you were to go through here, we're going to knock out this farm real quick just so we can clear the area. We're not after the farm, we just want these guys gone. Remember to kill the Reaper, all the other guys drop. Then what you do is just run to the edge. You can actually save a little bit of time, drop down, not really take much damage. He always drops them as well, at least one. And then when we were progressing through the walkthrough, if you were to go down the stairs, go to the left, turn around, and here will be patches. This is how we can get him sent back to the Nexus to, buy your healing materials. He'll tell you, look down the hold, and he pushes you. Down here will be Saint Urbane, which is your boss miracle merchant. We sent back, but there's a red phantom here. You have to take out the red phantom to kind of free him, but the red phantom actually drops moon shade stone chunks. So that's going to get your falchion or whatever crescent weapon you want to make much further along, right? Because they only go up to +5, so I think that'll get you up to like +3. So there's one guaranteed there. And then if you keep pressing on here, you can go back up. There's like some items on a body. We've already picked it up. But you can go right back through. Now, obviously, if you progress further into the zone, you'd get more of these materials. We're not going to do this yet. So there's a switch behind the altar that'll open up the double door down there. Then you can progress through the zone, you'd find more of those upgrade mats. So there's more to come in the walkthrough. However, if you go back down the stairs and go to the right-hand side, which is on the opposite end, there are some stairs here, which you can take on up. Up your second flight of stairs, you're going to find an illusionary wall. Now, there's items out here that we're not going to pick up because it's, that'll fuck up our notes going through the series. But you can actually farm this guy over and over for Bladestone chunks for dex builds. Then in pure black, you can drop pure Bladestones to fully max out. Well, he jumped off, so I'm not going to get it. But you can farm him for Bladestone chunks. Then drop pure Bladestone to max out dex weapons. So this is all about dex upgrades. So that covers dex, basic, quality strength. This guy drops more of his crescent stuff too. And remember, he'll come here 3 or 4 times as you kill bosses. And look at that, Moonshade Stone chunk, y'all. And then from there, we're all covered. So like I said, that's basic, that's dex, that's both types of magic. The only other thing to cover is going to be faith weapons. And so we'll get back to that. Let's just hop on out. Now's the shitty part. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and switch Providential. And you could put on the Poison Resistance ring for where we're going, but what we want is the Thief ring. Without the Thief ring, we're probably not going to get these upgrade materials. So we recommended Faith build for the walkthrough. Like I said, the upgrades don't come to World 5, and that kind of puts you in a shitty point. So to quickly cover this, when we did our little trick drops, you stick to the right side, keep dropping down, you'll eventually see a little plank that drops you down, and that's where you got the blessed mace, right? Well, there was that crystal lizard that did drop 3 faint stone shards. After you kill the last boss, you can pretty much backtrack from Swamp of Sorrows, get back to that crystal lizard. Should have like 6 of those. So we already know that's there. We just did this last episode, so I'll tell you where it's at, but we're not going to cover it. It's too much grief to go through. And I will say, if you go up for that crystal lizard, and like he falls off or you just don't see him there, chances are he fell off, and you can just jump back here, turn around, and he'll be right on the ground. That's the easier way to get him. But what we want to do is take you guys to a merchant. So like I said, I farmed up quite a bit of souls, and I'm not going to farm for levels, so they do have a purpose. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run into a merchant here that will sell faint stone. So we still need faint stone chunks, and we already have our pure faint stone. But that's going to come more when we get to the zone. If we can just get a blessed weapon to like +2, that's more than plenty to carry us here. Plus, you guys can, go down here. There's like a red phantom you can kill for faint stone chunks. And you probably max out a faith weapon, honestly, if you just did those few little things. But we're going to show you where just to get regular faint stone. So for 1, we'll be able to make more than 1 faith weapon. For 2, we'll be able to get those upgrades off, right? So we're going to kill him as we go down. Like I said, I would highly recommend the Thief ring, but we are going to get poisoned here, so if you can get some regeneration going, like we have our shield, that's going to help out quite a bit. So we're going to drop down. As soon as you get to the bottom, you can't roll here. You see that? You're just so encumbered with the swamp. It's like having on 1,000 pounds. That's why we're not doing this location yet, and why we can't do it yet until we get a very specific ring to help, which would keep the recommended build from getting upgrades, right? So that's what we're doing. But either way, just drop on down. You're going to go all the way to you see these little structures, I guess we'll call them. And the enemies here, if they run up and fight you in the swamp, you're just dead without the sodden ring. So I'd avoid them. You can definitely take out the little ones, but there's really big depraved we were kind of struggling with, or you may have struggled with at least at the end of 5.1. They're here too. They just walk up, smack you once you're dead. That's, so it makes us, even what we're doing now, very irritating. That's where the Thief ring comes in play. So what we're going to do is, put the structure, the scaffolding on your right-hand side. We're going to take it all the way around. You're going to eventually see this island where there's a bunch of depraved. So that's what the Thief ring's about. We're going to stay as close to the wall as we can. And right behind them is a little plank you could follow. There will be a fog wall, but that brings us to our next area, and that's where we want to be. So just kind of go to the island, go behind, follow this. You don't have to run with the Thief ring on. Without it, you probably do. They should de-aggro immediately. You just get back in the swamp. Make sure you get a heal off. We are being poisoned, keep in mind. Now, don't go too far to the right. We're kind of staying center. We're eventually going to push towards that left corner. So if you look straight ahead, you see like another pre-built wall type deal. We need to get behind that. To do so is a little bit to your left, but what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to run all the way to that wall. We're going to hug the wall very tightly and then just sneak behind. Now, as you go down here, there's a slug with a pretty cool looking armor set if you guys want to take him out. He's like right around here somewhere. Right here. So if you just were stayed to the center, you're going to see this little mound. I'm not going to cover it because I want our nose to line up. But I do believe this is the Dole set. Pretty cool. It's kind of hidden within that slug. Now, like I said, there's notes aren't in front of me, but if you guys want to grab it, I know it's in there. I might be wrong with the name. I'm pretty sure that's a dull set. It's not dull. It's actually pretty cool. Alright, so once you get all the way to the wall here, we're going to go to the left. Now you see that guy glowing? That's actually the Shaman Depraved. He could actually drop Faint Stones as well. You could actually farm all these guys for him, but that's, not what we're doing right now. We're going to be in big trouble. So we're going to keep on the Thief Ring. Wait for them to kind of look away. And try to walk for the most part. Alright, so when he starts to aggro, we're going to get this ramp going. And he should back up immediately. Because we have the Thief Ring. And right over here on the left, Filthy Old Woman, Faint Stone Shards. We can buy 6 of them. So now we're going to be looking really good as far as upgrades. So we'll jump on out. And that officially covers upgrades for every single weapon type, farms for healing, and farms for souls. So you guys should be more than good to move forward from this point on. Now, I'm probably going to hold off a bit before I find a weapon to go with, but we all should have, a pretty healthy stock of everything. So we'll check in with Stockpile Thomas, put those up. Blacksmith always pulls from inventory regardless, and at this point we have 12 Faint Stone Shards and 1 Pure Faint Stone. So as soon as we get our chunks, we'll be able to max out a weapon, but we should be able to at least get to like +2, for the time being, which would be nice. Jumping on over, we don't need that. I'm not going to use that. That's cool, not going to use it. Definitely want to keep on our fire shield for next episode, put that up. We're good there. But yeah, looking over everything, guys, we are good. So you guys know where to get healing, either, World 1 or using the soul farm to buy them from patches. Obviously, you know where to get souls. And then we've covered basic upgrades, magic upgrades for Moon and Crescent. Covered Dex upgrades, and then also we have covered faith upgrades. So you guys should be all set for moving forward. You'll have choices to make and when you want to bring things up. Now, I've already brung the Meridian Hammer up to +6 because I was going to make this a faith weapon. I was thinking about making this a faith weapon, but there's some other weapons we're going to pick up. There's a lot of choices, guys. As far as the recommended build, there wasn't a recommended weapon, right? It was just faith. We will eventually get the Sword of Moonlight, which is fucking awesome. One of the best weapons of the game, pure magic damage. But that comes in World 5 too. So our main, boss type weapon isn't going to come for a bit. So until then, we have choices. So I'm going to wait till we pick up a few more things. +6 will be plenty to get us through. And then I'm going to get you guys a badass fire sword and get that pretty much maxed out next episode as well. So we'll definitely have some choices. But I would just kind of just save on those materials if you're doing Moon, Crescent, or Faith. That way, when we pick up more weapons over probably the next 2 areas, you should probably have the best choices at that point, unless you found something like, I really like this. In fact, the Meridian Hammer from Faith is one of the best in the game. High damage output. It's got really good knockdown potential, so it can kind of knock enemies down. And it's just got tremendous scaling and health regeneration. So it's actually one of the best Faith weapons. That's why we kind of went out of the way a bit to get it for you guys last episode. But, there are other choices to come, so that's kind of up to you guys. Regardless, we know how scarce our materials are, so make your decisions wisely. And we will, leave it at that. So next episode, we'll see y'all back here, and we're going to push through to World 2 pretty much to the end, everything besides your Arc Demon. Then we'll have one more episode in World 2, taking out your first Arc Demon, and then taking care of all of your tendency events. So we'll have World 2 completely wrapped up, which does give us access to some very strong boss souls, but also boss weapons with your blacksmith. And then I just feel like we'll be in a really good spot for the rest of the game. So that will be the plan moving forward. Hope the guide has helped you guys, and we will catch you back here shortly.